Good morning. My name is Danny Zausner. As the Chief Operating Officer of the National Tennis Center, it's my pleasure to have you all out here today. I've had the great fortune of being involved with the U.S. Open and the USTA since August of 2001, ironically my 25th anniversary with the organization. Needless to say, it's a different world than it was in August of 2001. One constant has remained since that time, and that's been the incredible support of the NYPD and everything they bring to bear to make sure that the 1.2 million fans that will come out to the U.S. Open this year, along with the players, can feel incredibly safe. So with that, I'd like to introduce the Commissioner, Jessica Tisch, to say a few words. Thank you so much.
Good morning, everyone. In a few days, the 146th U.S. Open Championship comes back to Queens, where more than 300 of the best tennis players in the world will compete in front of 1.2 million fans over 2 weeks. And the men and women of the NYPD will be here to keep everyone safe. I want to thank our partners at the U.S. Tennis Association for the work that they do each year to make this tournament possible, as well as our local, state, and federal partners who are part of this group effort. It all starts with the NYPD's dedicated U.S. Open detail. Hundreds of uniformed officers and traffic agents are assigned exclusively to this event, and NYPD officers are deployed here 24 hours a day through the end of the tournament. And this year, the detail will begin its full deployment 1 week earlier than in the past, giving us full coverage beginning the week of August 23rd for Arthur Ashe Kids Day, Fan Week, the qualifying rounds, and the mixed doubles matches. Working alongside the dedicated U.S. Open detail for the duration of this event will be our bomb squad, our aviation and mounted units, and our emergency service unit, as well as our intel and counterterrorism personnel, to include explosive detection canines, heavy weapons teams, plainclothes personnel, and more. And I am pleased to announce today that the NYPD now has new independent legal authority to conduct drone mitigation operations at major events when necessary to address unauthorized drone activity. That is a significant change from the World Cup. There, our counter-drone teams worked alongside the federal government and our federal partners, and they held the legal authority to mitigate unauthorized drones. Here at the U.S. Open, trained NYPD personnel will be ready to exercise that authority ourselves. That new authority was made possible by the Safer Skies Act, and this will be the first major event where the NYPD uses this new authority, and it will be the first event in the country where state or local law enforcement conducts independent drone mitigation operations. At this time, there are no specific credible threats to the tournament, but we will remain vigilant. And as always, there will be security measures that you will see and others that you will not see. It's all to ensure that this year's U.S. Open is safe and enjoyable for everyone, the players, the fans, the event staff, and all the people who live and work in the surrounding neighborhoods. Some additional details to note. The main draw of the tournament begins on Sunday, August 30th, and there will be 2 daily sessions of play, with gates opening at 9:30 a.m. for Session 1 and at 6 p.m. for Session 2. Concrete barriers will be installed along the site perimeter to prevent any unauthorized vehicles from gaining access. More than 100 light towers will be installed throughout the complex to illuminate streets and sidewalks and walking paths. And all attendees will go through a multi-layered screening process before entering the tournament grounds. A list of prohibited items is available at the U.S. Open website. As with all major events, there will be limited parking available, so we urge people to take public transportation whenever possible. It is still the fastest and most efficient way for most fans to get to and from the U.S. Open this year. There will be no closures or bypassed subway stations during the tournament, and stations near the event will see an increased police presence, including the 74th Street Roosevelt Avenue station along the 7 line, among others. Additional transit officers plus Transit Bureau K-9 will be deployed throughout those stations and on those trains for the duration of the tournament. The MTA will be running additional trains at the end of each day to get people home, and the LIRR Mets Willets Point stop will be open with extra trains continuing to serve that station for 1 hour past the last match each night. The plans and the personnel are in place to keep you safe. But with nearly 80,000 people in this complex each day, we are asking the public to stay alert and always be aware of your surroundings. And if you see something suspicious or anything that does not feel right, tell a uniformed officer or call 911 right away. Finally, I want to thank the men and women of the NYPD who will be out here keeping one of the most high-profile sporting events in the world safe this summer. The city has asked a tremendous amount of these officers over the past few months, and they have risen to meet every moment. The U.S. Open would not be possible without them, and I am sure I speak for so many New Yorkers when I say thank you to them. Good luck to all the players and to the fans coming to New York City from around the globe. Welcome, stay safe, and enjoy the tournament. We will now take any questions that you may have.
So we're going to do some on-topic questions about security in the U.S. Open from CBS.
Can you go into a little more detail about what actually happens when there is an unauthorized drone in the sky? That makes something to think, okay, maybe shooting down, like what exactly is it?
I'm going to ask our Deputy Commissioner of Intel and Counterterrorism, Rebecca Weiner, to give you a little more detail on that.
So with the passage of the Safer Skies Act and now this rulemaking authority that allows us for the first time to use our own people, our own tools, our own equipment under independent authority, we now do what the federal government has been doing, which is traditionally an electronic counter-drone mitigation. And mitigation is one of several tools that we use to protect against unauthorized drones. There will be a federal temporary flight restriction as well over this facility that allows us to take these countermeasures.
So like you're able to turn it off electronically?
Yep.
Go, push 11.
Can you talk about the ships that the officers, the officers assigned to the U.S. Open?
Yeah, we have a dedicated detail for the U.S. Open, which means the officers assigned to that detail will only be working here for the duration of the 3 weeks. And with those officers, we will provide 24-hour coverage of this facility and the U.S. Open event for the duration.
Any other on-topic questions? Thank you, everyone.
All right.